Did you see it there?
Feel the love, brothers and sisters. Hey, it's a little quieter over on my stand. Yay, lads! Nice to see you. Yeah. Why don't you introduce yourself to the camera?
I'm Barry Kumar. I'm from Airfield Flat.
Hey. Your name tag, certificate, personal. Pass. Voyage Horizon. Friends, it's nice to chat to you guys. You don't mind if I film you briefly, but I really, all I'm imploring you to do is to go and do the research and to realize that actually it's possible that our science is also like a religion and that it's been misappropriated. And we've been given ideas that we're meant to sort of believe in because they're too far for us to kind of test for ourselves. So when I was a kid growing up and they started sending me pictures from the space shuttle and stuff like that from up in space, I was like, wow, proof, we're in space and so on. But actually, we know we can't have a vacuum and non-vacuum sit side by side without a firm barrier, like a deodorant can. Yeah. So once you puncture that deodorant can, there's equalization. Well, we don't have any way of having a complete or almost complete vacuum of space, and in our tiny little blue marble atmosphere sit side without it being ripped apart and being drawn to one to the other. So this is why NASA will never show you. They'll show you rockets going up into the sky, but they'll go to CGI long before they transition into space. And then that whole process in space is either done by doing it in a swimming pool where they do all their underwater. They always tell you they're training in a swimming pool, right? But then they train in the exact same suit that they end up doing the spacewalk in. But the suit is at 2 or 3 bars of pressure underwater and in 0 pressure in space, and it's the exact same suit. They should be operating in different ways with different suits in those different pressure environments. And it would explain why there was water seen going into one of the guy's helmets. He nearly drowned, and they admitted that. And also we see bubbles rising up from these guys while they're on spacewalks. It's all over, the JAXA, the Russian ones, the European ones. That Tim Peake, man, he never went to space. The only space that's been invaded is the place between his ears, where he thinks he's doing humanity a good job by lying to us about space. Space isn't fake, and they have to continue this show, this facade or charade to make people think that there's something greater than us. But the truth is that the great show is right here inside of you, inside of each of us, and that the sun is here for you, the moon is here for you, the stars are here for you, the show is here for you. But they want us to give it away to NASA or Muhammad or Christos, when the Christ is perhaps within you, the Muhammad is within you, and the Almighty or the Most High or the Creator of this place is a fractal representation through you. And you're meant to come here and have a divine, beautiful experience of that. But we end up either doing this, we end up fighting ourselves over a religion, or we end up believing in Brian Cox and Neil deGrasse Tyson, all these people who are meant to be our heroes of science, who can imagine, as I used to think, like what are these guys' names? Lawrence Krauss, another one. I used to look up to these men and go, gosh, how are they imagining our wonderful space and these nebula that are out there and so on.
Basically, you're just ruining science. Everything is based on their theories.
Pseudoscience.
Sorry?
Pseudoscience.
There's Barry.
Science is everything. I mean, everything's based on science.
Real science is brilliant, but it's pseudoscience nowadays.
Yeah, so the science where we can measure a distance or measure a temperature or measure a drop of curvature or something like that, I got no issue with that kind of science. My issue is that when you say, if gravity does this, which we already can't prove, yeah, if gravity does this, then allow for relativity to do that with a certain mass. When you take this formula and you apply those numbers, and it's taken these very clever guys many years to come up with these numbers. If you apply these criteria met and this and that, then we could have a quark. Then we could have a black hole. Then we could have light years. Then we could have distances and splitting the atom and all of this sort of stuff that you and I have to. Yeah, but no, the problem is that they turn that theory into people's minds as reality. So the splitting of the atom, the threat of the atom bomb wiping out humanity, for example, is a great example of where they can use some pseudoscience to create a fear. And the same is true with the alien invasion, because without space, there's no alien invasion. There's no planet Nibiru about to wipe us out. There's no dinosaurs that have gone extinct because of some violent thing that happened upon this earth millions of years ago. No. It's all been created for us perfectly. And what they want to do is they create in your mind these fears so that you go and pay your taxes. You pay your taxes so that so they can keep you safe from either the guy from the country next door or the alien from the planet Xenog. Yeah? And there's lots of people who believe on this earth that there are aliens. It's okay to believe that there are aliens, but it's not okay to believe that water's always provably going to find its own level. It's much easier to believe, apparently, that we live on a spinning ball where water is clinging to that ball because of a magical force called gravity. And
over 70% of the earth is water.
yeah, 70% of this earth is water, and we always find that water to be level. Ocean level, sea level, spirit level. Buildings are always leveled. To what level? So if you hold up a bottle of water, I contend to you that bottle of water, young lady, if you don't mind, if I hold up this bottle of water here, that water, when it comes to rest, is going to find something called level. And that level will be horizontal with every other body of still water on earth. And that's a fact. And that means you have nowhere got curving water. Nowhere on the surface of any water, other than a water droplet, will we find any curvature. Curvature doesn't exist.
Except that somebody in Australia at the moment is doing the same thing, holding a bottle of water, and it's upside down.
Yeah, I know,
and
right?
it's level, and from the other side.
So this young man asked me a very clever question. He said, what about footage from the ISS from all over the globe? And I said, yeah, well, if that were true, ISS were able to do that, it would be filming people doing exactly what you just described, sir. It would be filming people in an upside down, relatively upside down from us, with things going that way. But we'll never see that because, of course, everything has to be on the level.
Because we know it isn't true.
Because of a theory. So gravity is a word. How do you describe how that works? I mean, can you give me a scientific experiment where that's proven?
It's very fact you're standing on the ground. If you jump, you'll fall straight back to the ground.
Okay, so that's buoyancy and density. If I had to put a pool of water in, that would alter the density of the medium that we were in. So that would alter the rate at which something fell. If it was a helium balloon, it would rise up.
Theorists believe in the theory of universal acceleration.
Have you studied physics?
None believe that. None believe that. But
Many
if you
believe
no, you've been watching the control
I
group,
researched
which
into
is called the
Flat
Flat Earth Society. They try and push this idea that everything's rising, but that's obviously nonsense. Everything is still.
Obviously, is
Everything is still. Well, my common
how
sense.
are you pulled down?
My sense is. Well, because I'm heavier than this air. If I had some helium balloons, I'd be pulled up if there were enough. And if I had a swimming pool, I'd be bobbing in that because there's a certain density to be found. Everything finds its density in the medium that we're in. That was here long before gravity was invented as an idea. Now, the problem with gravity is that you say that you're going to drop your apple to the floor and that's gravity. But the problem is that doesn't mean that things are going to now work on the side of the ball, underside of the ball. It doesn't work like that. There's no science to show it. And that's where you guys try and get into your word soups to explain how this is possible.
Okay, tell me something. How is it
One at a
day
time, gentlemen. One at a time. One at a
on one
time.
side of the earth and exactly at the same time it's night at the other side?
Because I would suggest to you that the sunlight only has enough reach for 12 hours of light.
The sun there is 90 million miles away.
90 million miles away. How do you know that?
That's not
how do
how
you know
light
that?
works.
Because that has to be a leaf system. I know for sure you've never been there. No man has ever been there. In fact, the measurement that we give for the sun has been changed 13 times in the last century by mainstream science. 13 times, ranging from 3 million, 27 million. Here you are saying, what's your name? He's saying is Greg. It's saying that it hasn't been. Why don't you Google it? Ask Google how many times has the distance to the sun been changed by mainstream science in the last decade, the century. It is 13 times.
The ways that they came to the
But these are
different
Kepler, all the mainstream
But they,
scientists.
concluded that the sun is
Well,
this
it's a
size.
conclusion
Where is your
or a
conclusion?
belief.
Where is your?
Well, I'm not stating.
Science?
I'm not stating that. I'm stating that water is level. You can't prove that it curves.
Anything. You're not giving us any experiments, any scientific facts. You're not giving us anything. All you're saying, the Earth is flat. You're stupid for not believing it. That's it. That's a religion. That's That,
No, I didn't say that's flat. I said water is flat. Water is flat and level, provably. 100 miles. The Suez Canal is 100 miles long and provably level and flat.
That the entire scientific
Beat that.
community is lying to you.
No, I believe that the entire scientific community is made up mainly of people who are interested in their jobs, mainly of people who got A in class and who went and answered all these same science questions as we're meant to, about gravity, about how relativity works in a gravity environment. All these questions, they simply answered them right. And then they went on to build other theories, perhaps, that sought to expound upon them. So we get gluons and all these other ideas that, well, if this and quark that, and you multiply this by that, and so on. So we're, as let me finish the point. Let me finish the point. As Tesla said, that modern science gets far too carried away with mathematics. Just the quote is that we're far too carried away with mathematics than we are in real world exploration and what we can see. So water is always level.
Just give me a moment. Is your theory then that you can only believe something that you can formally observe with your own senses? So, for example, you said to me that the
No,
sun,
you can believe anything you
said
like,
to me,
sir.
I said the sun was 90
Yeah,
miles
yeah.
away, and you said, have I been there?
Yeah.
So you seem to suggest that unless I've been to the sun, I can't make a prediction or a theory about how far the sun is away.
Okay. Well, yeah, but you can't say for certain that it's 90 million. No.
You don't think that?
No.
So if I divide up...
This is a wave, this is an electrical wave system, and atoms are just another tool. No one can see an atom. The only atom you ever saw in your science book was a drawing. The only atom you'll ever see is a CGI rendering. There's no one can see the atom. No one can see the proton, neutron, and electron. They'll tell you why, because there's so much space between it. If we were to magnify in, you would never be able to see it. It's so tiny. So we believe.
Exist, but we can't see them.
I don't believe they
You
exist at
believe
all.
in cells.
No. Well, I believe
But
in
you
waves,
can
electrical
observe
waves.
them. You can observe them.
Okay, but there may well be an electrical frequency or
Yeah,
wave.
how do we get
Wave.
diseases? How
Guys,
do we get viruses?
Guys,
There are
you
no
still
cells.
think we're at the point where we don't yet realize that water is level and sea is level and oceans are
You're
level.
changing the flow.
No. This is all I'm saying. I'm saying that
Every time we back you into
I'm saying that
into
gravity is a religion.
answer, you refuse to give us the answer.
I'm saying gravity is a
You don't have
religion.
any answers. All you have are these silly questions that you make up out of nothing.
No, 'cause I
You
don't
say
like-
everything is a lie, and where is the truth? Oh, I don't know. That's
No,
what
because
you're saying.
what you're doing is that you're building a straw man for me
That's
to
not a
kind of
straw
play
man.
with.
You
I
need
don't really want to.
explain to us how the world works.
Sorry.
What your statement of gravity is religion. I say to you, the defining characteristics of religion is based upon acting upon faith as opposed to observation and experiment.
Yes, that is
Based
faith.
upon
That's gravity.
repeating what people have told you without
Yeah.
investigating for yourself.
Yeah.
That is completely
Yeah,
not
that's gravity.
Religion.
Trust me.
Religion is predicated upon
I came from it.
revealed truth being replicated, being revealed to generation after generation, believing what you're told and not
Exactly.
accepting, not even questioning it. Science changes all the time. Why? Because we discover better and better approximations.
Yeah, approximations of reality. Well, let me tell you that I observe a reality that is unmoving, where water is level. And you guys have accepted what I was given was a belief system that because I'm so small, I can't detect the movement, and I'm so small, I can detect the curvature. So now I go to science and ask science to measure me those two factors, and it cannot do that in 2019. Say whatever you like, but you cannot empirically measure curvature, and you cannot empirically measure this Earth spinning. If this Earth was rotating right here, we would be at 600 miles or 500 miles an hour. Well, your whole version of a ball Earth is built in an optical illusion called perspective. Perspective, because when the ship comes from the distance, it's actually just the ship getting bigger in your perspective. It's not actually coming over the curve. And I'll give you the example of the train. The train down a perfectly level track for 3 miles looks tiny. The poles alongside of that track are small, invisible in the distance. But as that train comes at me, it gets larger and larger in all aspects, sideways, top ways, bottom ways.
Let's not talk about
That's
the train,
called
because
perspective,
Earth
and
is
that is
not
the
as-
magic
is not as
that is
much
wrapped
as-
over your mind, sir, that keeps you believing that you live on a ball even though science will
Water is
not
more
prove
level.
it.
Water is more level. So
Water
let's talk
is
about
level.
boats.
No, let's
about,
skip-
about islands. Listen, if you stay, if
One
you see
second,
an
let me
island
hear
far
him.
away,
Yeah,
you see an island,
yeah.
and it's covered by the sea level to a certain
water in
extent.
that bottle.
And it's very far away, and you stand up on a chair,
Yeah.
and then you lay down, always with a binocular. You see
Yeah.
the island. You see a slight difference. Part of the island starts to be more
Thank you.
covered by the sea level.
How much over distance?
Just a little bit.
No. Science should say more than just a little bit. Science should have a measurement.
Bro, it depends-
10 miles.
It depends on the distance that the island is from you.
Correct. So what distance? So if it's a 2-meter ship, how far will it be until it goes over the
We're
curve?
not talking about ships.
We're talking about
an
ships.
island
All right.
because you refuse to accept the ships because you think that the waves have something to do with it. The waves have nothing to do with it because the waves are not powerful enough to make.
I'm running
the
out of
ship
battery.
start disappearing.
I'm going to
from
ask you
the
before. Okay, enough. Let me tell you that the world record photograph is over 250 miles from one beach to another. 250 miles should have 3 miles of curvature. That's a matter of scientific fact. Yet we can see all of that island at 250 miles. Go Google it, go do the research. So you're talking to me about nuance, sunshine. Let me tell you that the fact is that we can see, and guys have done infrared over 1,000 miles and can still see the land masses over 1,000 miles. Yeah, it's uncomfortable, but the world record photo is 250 miles.
Is you denying every single question that we're making because you don't have the
World record
answer.
taken
That is
from sea level to sea level.
Yeah.
I don't believe it's true.
All right, that's okay, but that's the world record according to the Guinness Book of
Why
Records.
are you here? What is your point? What are you trying to
My point is to remind people about their divinity. I'm here to tell people it's much more than whether or not the Earth is flat. I mean, if you can't work out the Earth is flat, I really don't have a lot of, I'm not able to help you. I'm here to help those people who can see that they've been lied to by this system of control and see that the system has denied them the truth about who and what we are. Rather, they have had us pitted against one another, whether it be through color, religion, race, or belief in some kind of scientific poppycock like gravity and relativity. No, this is what they've done to deny you the creator who created you absolutely perfect, divine. No, but this is the truth. No, humans do not. That's the history you begin. I'm asking you, look into my battery is absolutely dying.
This phone that you use
My battery is absolutely dying.
is created by the wonders of modern science. It's not created by your belief in waves or in your belief of buoyancy.
This
It's
phone.
created by understanding
Yeah.
how physical properties
Yeah.
operate within micro.
60 years ago, we went to the moon with a piece of technology less smart than this phone in my hand, but we haven't been back. We haven't been back in 60 years, even though technology is 1,000 times more developed. If it were true, we could put a camera on the moon today and watch the Earth spinning from space in 4K high definition. But your overlords, your NASA religious people will make excuses for years and years and years and tell you why they can't be bothered, it's not worth the money. But they will land a probe on a comet. When the comets, let me tell you, they can't even get back to the moon. They admit that themselves. We've lost the technology, according to Don Pettit. They do not have the technology today, but they could go with something less smart than my mobile phone 50, 60 years ago. I can't take a mobile phone 10 miles out of my satellite region, but he, the president, could phone the moon in 1960 with a desk phone. Believe that shit if you must, my friends, but the entire thing, a funny thing happened on the way to the moon, the entire thing has been created to put in your mind the idea that you're just a small, insignificant insect on a beast that has just evolved from the evolutionary Big Bang that was given to you by the Vatican Church.
Is the conspiracy a global conspiracy? Or is it an American conspiracy?
Funny.
What's there to be gained from a flat Earth by like the elite?
Well, for me, like my wife took 2 years of me saying it's flat for her to work it out, and that's a couple of years ago now, and she realized that she is a far more divine human being, a far more centered human being, knowing truth about who and what she is, and she no longer looks to the news or the Donald Trumps or the Theresa Mays as her guardian or guide as to what is right for her, because the truth is that you are the creator, you are the source. If there's a Christ, it's in you, it's within you. Every religion, every science wants you to never to know that.
Sorry, man. I'm like,
Do you know that they don't come closer
some
than what
elite
it
group
used
are
to be
like,
equated?
yeah, the Earth is flat. But why would they want to lie? Wouldn't they just be like, yeah, no, the Earth is round.
Where the fuck is the
I don't know, but before we get into that, we got to realize that water's level. Water level, sea level, ocean level, the Suez Canal level. There's no way you can make it work on a ball. There's no science that proves
Lie
that.
and say the Earth is round.
Let's get to whether they've lied or not, and then we'll talk about why. I've already explained to you, you are like a divine being of light and all this sort of stuff, so that's why they're lying, because they want to hold you, they want to keep you a slave, they want to have you paying taxes, they want you to send your kids to school, vaccinating them, keeping them poisoned with sugar and all this sort of crap, and a banking system that's absolutely set up to steal from you, absolutely designed to steal from you. So the government was part of the royals, which part of the Vatican, and they set up their banking system and their education system, and do you think they did it to tell you the truth about who and what you really are? Absolutely not, my friend. Absolutely not. They have the whole lot, and I can't tell you why. It's 300 years, 500 years ago they came out with a ball, whatever. But the whole thing has been to demean and diminish you. The whole business of dinosaurs, the whole business of monkeys turning into men. There's no proof of that. The whole business of men from monkeys. Sorry, brother. The whole thing is Hollywood.
No, they did that with a horse.
Yeah, Sandra Bullock went to space. You believe that too?
Periscope.
No,
It has to look for the enemy.
That's the problem. People have been seduced by Hollywood, by TV, by production system that has lied and layered a complete deception over you.
Why did the scales go, yeah, look, the Earth is flat.
Different star constellations from different
Nothing,
parts
like,
of
what
the
would
Earth
change if
at
they
the
just
same
said,
time.
look, the Earth is flat, sorry.
Well, I guess because it would bring the God and the Creator much closer than in a Big Bang, where if there is a God, I didn't believe in that. 4 years ago, I believed in the Big Bang, and I believed that there was no Creator.
Can't you believe in the Big Bang and God? I mean,
No,
Big Bang has
how
to
can
be
you can't cherry
started
pick? You can't cherry pick. No, if we created this, or if God created this,
how, the creator explains the why.
well, I mean that's one way of getting around it. I never understood that with religion, how they could have a Big Bang, and because the Big Bang's not in the Bible. There's no Big Bang in the Bible. You know, that's made up. In fact, when I was a 12-year-old boy, I could read that the Bible was saying. I said, my preacher, the Bible is a flat Earth book. You know that, right? It's a flat Earth book.
I mean, it
There's
was
so many verses that say flat. There's none that say it's a ball.
written
None.
by people who weren't really known for sailing like the Greeks. They knew the Earth was round. But
Really? Well, you've been so lied to about your history, Sunshine. You don't know squid. Let me tell you to look into the Tartarian Empire. Look into who the Tartarians were, yeah, and look into what mud floods are, and then you'll start to realize that none of your history is true. None of your history.
it's just like, I tried to look for when someone does something like lie about the Earth being round.
this.
I tried to look for a motive. But
Perhaps you haven't looked deep enough then, because let me tell you, there's some fantastic motives. Well, I've already given you one, but you don't want to hear it. That you are perhaps the spark of God. You are the spark of the Creator, but you don't want to know that. Why? Because your scientists told you that you were a lucky squid that came out of the They came out of the slime. Yeah. That's it. That's it. And because an asteroid hit us and got us spinning and all that sort of shit, I used to suck all that stuff up. All of it. I believed it all.
I just don't see what would stop their rule by just being honest.
Nobody ever
Sorry?
said. I mean, maybe in the middle.
Yeah, the Earth is flat.
Nobody ever
Yeah.
said now.
Yeah.
We don't want you to figure out how special you are. So we don't tell you that the Earth is round.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess they gave that a lot of thought.
Just a hypothetical.
So same as the one a bit about why they would make us slaves. You know, why I used to ask my parents, why do we have to go to work? Well, we just have to. We just have to pay these taxes. Why?
I think
Why?
from the
How
dawn
come?
of time, people have always worked.
Yeah, there's working the land and working for yourself, but working as a slave for McDonald's,
I agree.
working for a slave for McDonald's, no bollocks ways to that. We were not meant to come and be some corporate slave.
I agree. I do believe in
And the less there
Corporation,
to
yes,
private.
yes. And a corporation means corpse means dead.
I do believe in private.
Oration means speaking. So we give the speaking dead life when we join a corporation, and we then be part of the slave system that takes all of our wages for 10, 20 pound an hour. It's bullshit. You know, you should be working your own, and you should be given a piece of land as your birthright as you come here.
We
It's
weren't
not,
always
it's not something that sucks up
eating
things.
as well as we did
That's
back
a
in the
low
day. But I
pressure.
think
That's
we're definitely living.
So I think when I look into some sort of tribal places where people are living simple and what have you, they live so well, they live so rich. But the idea that we need the bling and we need like a table full of pigs and animals and stuff like that to eat and feast on, no, we don't need all of that. I try to step away from all of that. I have eaten
Just out of
animals.
curiosity, where do you think the edge is, like on the map? Do you have any
Do you mean the edge of space?
the edge of the world?
No, because the edge of space, we need to, remember you come from a mind control system that says that space is infinite. So if there's infinite space, why can't there be an infinite Earth?
So you go,
I'm just theorizing. I don't know.
you go west, for
Yeah,
example.
you want me to answer this?
Why don't you fall off the end, not one?
What? You don't think there'd have to be an edge? Like any pool of water would have to have an edge.
So
I
I'm
think.
just curious.
I think, but I don't know. Like I said, if we were in outer space, why don't we just fall through that? Oh, gravity. Why don't we just fall out of space? Well, how far is space? Oh, 13 billion miles away. How do we know that? Well, we just came up with light years and invented ideas of things being so far away we can't tell.
Rocket science.
Yeah, it's all crazy. It's all bullshit.
The edge, like what country is near the edge? Like, is it the,
I don't know. I think that
the Pacific Ocean?
okay, I'll tell you what common sense. I come from I was brought up in South Africa, and so from South Africa in Cape Town, they can take a ship for just a few days sailing and get to what we call the Antarctic edge. And if you go to Norway and you go places like that, you're only at 60 degrees, 65 degrees. So I don't really know what's beyond that, and they don't allow us to travel beyond those places. 65 degrees, if it's a 90 degree to the North Pole, that's a lot of land. And then the same is true in the South. You're not allowed to go past the 70th degree parallel, the Antarctic Treaty.
I've always been curious, like, when it comes to the flat Earth theory.
Yeah.
It's like Japan attacks Pearl Harbor.
Yeah.
Like, did they go all the way
I don't know
around?
how it-
That's an interesting
Under
one.
Africa or through the Suez Suez
completely
Canal
different
or
interpretation
an attack, or
from
did they
what
just
they
go
are actually
east?
saying.
Did you know the Americans and the British knew that the Japanese were coming?
Oh yeah, no,
For
they
the
had
Pearl
a
Harbor,
theory.
you know that?
They didn't think that they'd have the balls to do it because Japan didn't have the manpower.
That's
the
what you're
industrial
told.
might.
But the British had the purple book, so they were decoding all their messages. And in fact, it was intended, just like the Lusitania, it was intended to get the Americans into that war, the Pearl Harbor attack,
I
for
think
sure.
it was just careless sailing and a submarine.
All right.
through
Well,
that.
that's fine.
No,
Well,
we're
I-
going to attack
I-
every war
you know.
because we need to starve out the English. But I think they didn't think that they'd have the balls to attack Pearl Harbor. Like, are you being serious? We
Yeah,
have
right.
more power.
Okay. Well, you're still believing the
But-
narrative.
no,
Do you
but the
think that Donald
Japanese-
Trump's a real guy? Like he's not just a puppet? Probably. What do you think, young lady? I'm interested in the
think
youth.
he's done a good
Well, what do you think about the flat Earth theory?
I think the Earth is round.
Yeah, like a pizza or a ball?
Huh?
You mean a sphere?
Globe.
Like a ball? Okay.
And there was a program on Netflix.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah,
Is it any good?
Have you seen it? Have you seen it?
I watched half of it, and they proved themselves.
Yeah.
Flat
Yeah.
Earther
Yeah.
bought a device that
Yes.
can measure
Yes.
if the Earth is moving or not, and he proved that the Earth was moving.
I know it's caused me a lot of grief, this question. You know why? No, I'll tell you why. Because it's brought up to light what we've been talking about here in the park for a year now, and that is an experiment known as a Michelson-Morley and a Michelson-Gale experiments. They were done for 30 years back in the 1800s and early 1900s, and they proved that there was a turning of the ether, and it's 3 to 4 miles an hour. But in this movie, they've characterized it as 15 degrees an hour, and that 15 degrees an hour is something that I have no trouble explaining. As we have a roof above us, and that roof is turning, and that roof turns at a certain speed. But here's the question for you.
But then he put it in a box
Okay,
and tried to stay. And
well, we got no problem. You see, just remember, the roof is turning, whether it be that you're on a globe or whether it be on your flat Earth model, right? Everyone accepts that the roof is moving, whether it be that we're spinning or it's spinning, right? Let's say that. But what speed is it spinning at? Okay. No, this is an important part that they seem to have left out in this documentary, and that is the speed at which the Earth is moving. Because if you're spinning on, if you allow me to finish this point, that if you think of your watch, okay, that your watch is turning at 15 degrees a minute, or 15 degrees, 1 degree, 360 degrees a minute, okay? But the speed of the hand of your watch is very much determined on the size of your watch hand. Would you agree? So the speed at which the outside hand is moving will be determined by the distance from the center. And if this measurement that they're talking about, this 15 degrees per hour, it was important as a flat Earth, as a globe Earth proof, then they would be able to say that here, where I'm standing on the equator, it's 1,000 miles, moving at 1,000 miles an hour as we spin at 15 degrees per hour. That equates to 1,000 miles. But when we're standing here in America, it's only 500 miles an hour where we happen to be, or 400 miles, or 700 miles, depending very much on how far you are from the point of the axis, right? The center of your coin, from the center of your watch, from the pole. So for them to say this 15 degree blows the thing out of flat Earth out of the water, well, firstly, it was done for 30 years by the best scientists in Britain and France at the time, and they've hidden that. Secondly, it intentionally avoids the issue of what's the speed then, genius, and I don't mean you, I mean the people who are doing it. What is the speed? Because we all know that if this Earth is spinning at 500, 600 miles an hour here in England, we should be able to measure forces associated with that with clever equipment. Not say it's turning at 15 degrees an hour, which everyone would agree is how the stars move through the night at 15 degrees an hour.
Let me get somebody here.
So that's, for me, that I don't know whether, I mean, I know of the guy who did that experiment, actually. Is a guy called Bob from Globebusters, and I'd like to think that they were doing their very best to prove this, but it's been seized upon as being like the proof that the flat Earth must be wrong because there's this movement. Well, everyone accepts that this is like the old astrolabe, a 2,000-year-old piece of kit, which was like a series of record player discs, LPs, stacked one on top of each other. So I got no problem with that kind of model, and the 15-degree rotation doesn't have any problem with that either. But thanks for your question, because I've been wanting to deal with that one specifically. It's a good question. I'm glad you're thinking, because a lot of people are not. The truth is that our senses are robbed from us when we're very, very young as that. And they say you are sitting on a ball or standing on a ball, you're tiny, you can't feel the spin, you can't measure the curvature. Well, let me tell you that science today should be able to measure curving water. And we cannot. We cannot. That's a matter of fact. We think we see it, that's perspective. but we cannot take a measuring tool. In fact, some friends of mine, Roxanne, a globalist liar, and some other friends that are coming later, they went on to into Brighton yesterday and did a laser test over a body of water. And as far as I've heard, they were able to see the laser from I don't know, 5, 6, 7 miles away, and that would be impossible if you lived on a curving body of water. I've been to Spain and seen Africa. I've been to England and seen France, and they say that over 10 miles there should be 60 foot of drop. That's nowhere to be found when you try and measure it. And I'm 50 years old, so I thought about this for a long time. I've only been into the flat earth theory for 4 years, by the way. Before that, I could tell you anything about how far the sun and the stars were and all these things. I loved it all. I bought it all. Hook, line and sinker. I wish you all well.
What does anyone gain from, like you say, making us believe in the earth? Yeah, why do they make it?
Well, what if you were meant to come here and have a divine birthright that said, when you come here, you are entitled to a piece of land, you are entitled to an opportunity to nourish your true talent. Not be in a system of servitude, of debt, of scarcity, in which you have to scrabble, beat up your brother and sister in order to get ahead in the corporate world. That's the reason why you would maybe say to someone, this wasn't created for you, like the books have said. Not that I'm trying to push any religion, but they knew, the ancients knew that, and so they knew that this was created for us, which is why the books say that. The books say that this world was created for us to enjoy. But we come in here, and all of a sudden, by the time you're 5, 6 years old, you say to your children, I'm afraid you have to get this career, and you have to go and get a job, and you have to pay taxes, and you'll probably spend your entire life working just to, fortunately, for the end of it, to have a roof over your head and survive through that. That's why they would make it into a ball that's in the infinite darkness of space, hurtling through asteroid belts and things that are about to wipe us out, because, shit, if that's the truth, then we need to have a space force. We need to have people to protect us from potential, like dinosaur-type extinction events. And we also need to have a government to protect us from those nasty people who live in the Middle East, because they've got their belief system that we don't believe in. So it's all a game of mind control, and the ball. Let me tell you, I was like an atheist man and a fairly hedonistic kind of thinker in the way I lived my life, up until I realized, oh my gosh, it's probably all about us. I went and bought a Bible and then realized, no, it's not actually about the Bible so much as it's about who am I and what am I in this creation. And I am, and you are, some divine entity, some divine being of light. But our science and these guys with their religion, it puts you second or third on the pecking order, not top of the pile here. And your government exploits that, so they'll tax you and they'll do all the things that they do. So that's why. That's the why. I hope that's helpful. Yeah, I've got a little YouTube channel called Trinity 4. You can check it out, or there's plenty of stuff on YouTube, but there's plenty of disinfo. People saying this is all nonsense. But do you think of the Suez Canal? It's 100 miles long, and that's provably level body of water. If I put 10 Suez Canals, I could get from here to England, to America rather, and on a level body of water. And a ship's not going to go uphill. A body of water is not going to hang on to the uphill just because of a word called gravity, just because an apple falls to the floor. It all falls apart when you realize that it's all wordplay, and we were all bamboozled at the very, very youngest age. I got my oldest child is in university, and my youngest child is 2 years old. My oldest child is struggling to come to terms with that, and I understand it, because we see globe images pumped at us all the time, but it turns out they're all computer generated. There's no photos of Earth from space. There's no webcam sitting on the moon filming us rotating in space. There's Neil Armstrong saying you can't see stars when you're out there, and there's other astronauts saying you can see stars when you're out there. They don't know their own story. Go and check out a documentary, A Funny Thing Happened on the Way to the Moon. Check that out. It's a proper documentary on YouTube by a guy called Bart Sibrel. Check that documentary out and just ask yourself those questions. That's all I'm saying. And say, shit, is it possible they've conned us? That they've done like a Sandra Bullock in Gravity kind of thing. They've just, all special effects in the military are years ahead with their special effects. So could they have done in the 60s? Yes, of course they can. So there you go. All the very best to you. I wish you super, super life. Cheers. How about that? It's always and there's Lou. It's always nice to get some people that are willing to listen, at least to listen. That's all one asks for is listen. It's hard to hear, it makes you feel uncomfortable, I know, but the earth is flat. Good man. Good man. Man, I hope that's been helpful or useful or powerful. I wanted to come and say my piece here and, continue spreading some good message, hopefully. I was a little argumentative earlier on. I think that probably has something to do with my morning. But, these guys here, and I know this now because I've got family in the same boat, they won't want to leave their belief system, not yet. And even if they get ready to leave, I'm sure they will have the crew ready to kind of mop them up and say, yeah, of course we knew it was that, and let's just carry on paying tax. I'm grateful that my battery has lasted this long and I've been able to stream with you guys for this long today. It is a bit of a treat. And it's a beautiful, beautiful day. I came out a bit early this morning because I wanted to try and get back to my boy for this afternoon. And yeah. Hi. Just, hey man, how you going? All right, salam. This is my thing, is that I realize that actually sometimes I think, the only way through is to kind of actually love all of these brothers and sisters, and not be, because they're going to just exploit this thing, man. Sometimes when I'm talking to people on banking and when I'm talking to people on banking and religion and things like that, they can kind of get that, but people are going to want to stick to their religious kind of crew or their team, and I can't fight that. Can't really argue with that or fight it. We don't know who's who and what's what, really. And these people are looking for certainties, which I can't give them. The earth is flat, ladies. Earth is flat, did you know that? Yeah, speakers. Yeah, let's see if we can find some people to talk to. Hey. I might run out of battery, and if I do, I apologize for that. Everybody's got their belief system.
We should give room to their conscience. We must meet them with love and tolerance. And that is the way to build up the unity of the church. It isn't by reaffirming our denominational differences.
My friends. It's all this and that. It's all outside, eh? We're all fighting outside, and the truth is it's all in you. Pretty. Filming the filmers. Sometimes I do wish I had a Middle East language. Connecting with our brothers from the Middle East is so important, man. And I think these guys feel beleaguered because of the likes of Tommy Robinson. That's why I was disappointed about the Owen Benjamin thing and him becoming seemed like a cheerleader for Tommy Robinson. Go figure, man. And I guess that's perhaps in the sort of, let's call this the left-wing side of things, then there will be leaders who are, encouraging people to feel anxious about the likes of the Tommy Robinson. It's only a natural reaction to that kind of situation, right? And that's where we need to be more than that. We need to be able to kind of bridge that, especially as a white dude. I represent all the things that a lot of people hate. Black dudes hate us. Well, some white dudes, some black folks hate some white dudes. Some Muslim folks, because it's just a reaction of this environment. It's nothing personal, nothing individually different to these groups. It's just simply a part of the same system of mind messery, shall we say.
Surely, if Allah was really God, He knew our modern world today would be speaking English, not Arabic, and that He would want His message to be proclaimed so that it could be interpreted correctly. Surely, Allah knew that. But you see, folks, that's why this is the new religion.
Quran. He's got a Quran.
The truth of God. Islam
This is the story
was
about
not even around
Hard.
until 670.
And it's
It wasn't even the word named Islam.
You know that theory where the Quran was written by the Vatican and stuff? That
And after that, after
that is
Muhammad
something I
was
don't like
dead,
to say out loud because it's very offensive to some people, I think.
not even around in its state.
You know, how do we know? Why should we trust any one book over another book? That's where I'm at.
But the word of
You know,
God
why would my book not be corrupted?
have been
That's ego, man.
from the beginning.
Just because I chose a book.
I've already shown
right.
this Muslim man to
So we live in a crazy world. One day, perhaps we'll work it out. I don't know, but I can't fight. I can't fight this whole thing, or we can't. Or Flat Earth shouldn't be responsible to fight this whole thing. Hey, Ruben. I'm just here, man. This is my artwork here. Yes, Ruben. Everyone equals mind control squared. I just got some. I had some here, and I've got some on the other side of the section. You know, just some chalk work that I've been doing. Nice to have Ruben
No
here.
need for the tyre. No need to worry about
Hey,
it.
Lou.
Sorry.
So let's talk about
Lou's giving.
So I don't quite understand what you're saying. I mean, you say there's this magical thing called gravity here. Yeah. So it's obviously going to be stronger here than it is up there, right? Yeah. Right. Yeah. And so up there,
I like this.
It's holding pressure.
Yeah.
It's holding pressure. It's removing pressure.
Containing us.
So we're contained, yeah? So we're contained. Like a bank. So for pressure to exist, it needs to be in the container. So if you're saying up there's no container, then I'm going to say to you, show me pressurized gas.
Yeah.
There is a container. You know, the container isn't a physical massive bottle. I didn't say it was physical matter. I just said there's a container. Well, yeah, because it has to be. The container is. Yeah, the container is the gravitational field.
Called level.
And the gravitational field around it.
It's level.
Show me an experiment.
Because the fact that there's acceleration. The fact that there's acceleration when you that's not
Level.
Yes, it is. If it was
Level and horizontal, guys, work on this point. It's horizontal. Do an experiment that shows that you are horizontal. Your body of water is horizontal, and the next body of water is horizontal, and the body of water that is, say, the ocean or whatever, is horizontal with that. You know, if you did a side cut through whatever a section of a continent, you would see each lake, you know, a river running down to a lake, and then that lake would be parallel to the lake below it, parallel to the lake below that, and then parallel to the body of ocean water. Here's someone. Here's my friend. Have you looked into flat Earth theory?
No.
You haven't? Let me tell you.
My friend here has though, so
Okay, you're not going to bother. All right. No, you should look into it, man. You've been lied to. Your government, the whole lot.
My government or
The
all
whole-
the governments of the world?
Well, all the governments. They're all in the same bedroom. They're all in the same bedroom, man.
So when they fight wars, are they like pretending or what?
Yeah. I was in one. I was in one in Angola in 1987.
So
I wrote a
like
book
ISIS
about
and all
it.
That's all fake, right?
ISIS
Like
is.
Iraqi space,
You see what ISIS is that. Let's just say I was a country and you came to my country and I had 1 million boys in my country and you came to my country and caused me a whole lot of trouble. 1 out of 100 of those boys is going to say, I'm angry about that, and I'm going to join a caliphate or I'm going to join an army
I have
to
no
go
issue with
against
any of that. But your
So-
assumption is that that is a fake war, right?
No, engineered. So who funds the war? See, who funded World War One and who funded World War Two? It's the same backers, the same bankers.
Conspiracy.
I suggest 1750. I suggest that since the creation of the Bank of England, that whole Rothschild story about the bank, that is the beginning of our modern history. And from then, we've been sold a lie about wars. We've been kind of pitted against one another. So we go to war, and as I said to you again, I went to war as a 19-year-old boy in tanks against other tanks, Russian tanks, by the way, and Russian MiGs that were bombing me and my boys, right? So I know.